If you're a parent of a toddler and you're struggling to set up the limits, watch this video till the end. I will share with you how to do it without yelling. Hi, my name is Kate and welcome to our channel where we share practical and science-based information for parents. And in today's video, I'm going to talk with you about the ways how to set limits with toddlers. Most of these ideas are based on attachment theory, and I highly recommend you to check out two authors, Neufeld and Deborah MacNamara. So they have several books which were amazing in terms of understanding how the toddler's brain is working and how to help them to regulate their behavior and also set boundaries. Why boundaries are important? I want to start with the why. First, it helps to keep our kids safe and healthy. Another candy, another chocolate, like a lot of trash food, we try to set the limits and we try to set no. And yes, we're gonna face the tantrum and we're going to face negative feelings, but let's see how we can deal with them later in this video. A second why, it actually creates their comfortable and predictable environment for a child. Because the toddlers, they have very fast developing brain, it's difficult for them and they often overwhelmed and overstimulated by everything which is going on. And when we have the boundaries and limits, like we have a breakfast at a specific time, we have a nap time, etc. So it creates the predictability of the environment and it helps a child to regulate the emotions in a better way. And the third why, which I think is super important, it helps to build resiliency and also emotional regulation, because when we say no, kids quite often they can feel frustrated, they can feel anger, rage, or very uncomfortable feeling, overwhelming feeling. And when they are in a safe environment and we give them an opportunity to actually, live through these emotions in a healthy way, they understand that it's okay to have these feelings. They are not going to destroy me or the world around. So yes, they could be overwhelming, but I have someone who is keeping a quite safe place for me to express and feel and live through these emotions. So later they are more capable in dealing with these emotions later in their life, and also just have more emotional regulation capabilities. Here's how we can set up boundaries in a healthy way, at the same time focusing on the attachment and trying to make it in a way that is comfortable for us. So first is try to say no as rare as possible. So instead of saying like, no, we are not going to read this book right now, we could say something like, yes, we're going to read this book in 15 minutes while after I will finish doing lunch. So we are basically saying yes and no, but it helps the toddler to sort of get the idea that yes, it's going to happen, but I need to wait a little bit. Have a clear expectations together with your partner. It might be not very easy and people can have different point of views on different aspects of parenting, but there are some critical points that you want to discuss with your partner, like the routine, the way how do you react on the tantrums and emotions, the way how do you react on having more sweets, toys, iPad time, whatever the occasions, but try to make sure that you agreed on some critical points. Maybe the less critical could be different, but something that you really want to make sure you have the same expectations and you express the same expectations towards your child with your partner. The next one is pretty obvious, be a role model. Of course, if we want to reduce the amount of screen time for a child and we always stuck in our phones, that doesn't really help, because children do not learn from talking, from listening and what we say to them. They learning from observing what we do. So try to be a role model and act in the way you want them to act. Try to reduce the amount of open questions, like what do you want for dinner? Instead, just ask, do you want a salad from cucumbers or with tomatoes? Or do you want to brush your teeth right now, or we will put on the pajama? Another one which is really important with the boundaries is the consistency. So having this routine is really important. It helps really to regulate the toddler's brain. And if we agree that the bedtime is, let's say, 9:30 p.m., so make sure as an adult, because you're an adult, you can plan, toddlers cannot plan, that let's say 7:30 we have our dinner and then we start to have like less active games, then we go to do a story time, then it's a bath time, etc., etc. So make sure that by 8:30 you are not like entering the room and saying, hey, the game is over, now we're going to the bed. You actually have some routines that preparing a toddler for the bedtime. Also, one of the greatest things that helped me with the bedtime is like we starting to put our toys asleep. We put the blankets, we make them nice and cozy, so the toddler can actually start to put their toys first, and then we transfer to the bath and we have our story time, etc. I think one of the important points for the boundaries is that do not be afraid of big emotions. And that's very important, that you have to be prepared to say no and to stick with no, but at the same time be compassionate and hold the space for your child to express any feelings that can come up. So be in anger, be in frustration, and they don't need much, they just need this space to be held for them. And what I found useful for myself is that when I say no and there is like an anger, for example, I just don't say too much during this time. I could be compassionate, like saying, yeah, I understand, that's, or just even keep in silence. It also helps them to express, and then the emotions start to pass away and you can start to communicate and suggest some choices and how we can transfer to another activity. Try to be confident that you can hold these big feelings, you can manage them, you can contain them. That's fine, you're an adult, you can do it. Your child, what is happening for your child right now when he or she is throwing the tantrum because you set some boundaries, it's much more difficult, much more overwhelming from the inside experience, right, than what is happening for you anyway. So you can contain these emotions, and that's fine. They're gonna pop up, they're going to happen, and we as adults can just hold the space for it. And the last one, decide which battles do you actually want to have. There are some things with the red line that you are not going to negotiate, and there are some things that you probably, it's fine, you can skip, it's not so critical today. I hope this video was useful. Let me know in the comments what kind of strategies do you use to set boundaries with your children, what is working, what is not. I'm learning myself as a parent of a 4-year-old boy right now, and I'm curious what works for you. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, like video if it was useful, and see you next week.